What's up, everybody, and welcome to the show. So my guest today has been in the industry for about 4 years as far as coaching. He's been a strength and conditioning coach for Spirit Christian Academy for 2 years, and he's actually going in his third year. He's also a group certified fitness instructor. Please welcome my guest, Alex Hellman. So I have to give a shout out real quick to a guest that was on the show that actually gave this idea. Her name's Brittany Miller. Follow her on Instagram, BritFitLive, all that jazz. So we're starting back from the top, right? Okay. So favorite clothing brand? You said 511, right?
511, yep.
Favorite gym apparel?
Reebok.
Okay. Stolen anything?
Yes.
Okay. Dreamcast or Nintendo 64?
Nintendo 64 all the way.
Squirrels or llamas?
Llamas.
Okay. And then who inspires you?
Aaron Osmus from USC. He's their football strength and conditioning coach.
Okay. So if there's hair in your food, do you return it or do you take out the hair and eat it?
I'm returning it.
Okay.
Who eats it?
Gosh.
Dude, some people do. You know what?
Who eats the hair?
There's
like,
one
why would you not
person,
just take it out?
There's one person in this world right now that got a plate, found a hair, flicked it, and continued eating their food. There's at least one person.
It's not like you eat the hair.
Yeah, you just take it out. It's still good. What?
No, it's not.
It's kind of like the 5-second rule. You ever drop a piece of food on the floor and you're like, oh, it's been 5 seconds. Rub some dirt off it and just eat it.
That's very different. That's very different than someone else's hair.
So
It's
Disneyland
true.
or Six Flags?
Oh, Six Flags.
Okay.
I'm not a Disney guy.
Yeah, me neither.
Sorry,
Okay.
Roscoe.
So when you travel, do you take a neck pillow with you?
No.
Okay. Last time going 72 hours straight with no sleep.
I don't know if I've... Oh, no. Second year of college, I was like working an overnight shift and had school the next day, and I probably went close to that. I don't know that I've ever fully done that, but
Okay.
it got pretty darn close.
Okay. Next question. Would you rather fight Mike Tyson in his prime or Muhammad Ali in his prime?
I'm taking Tyson.
Oh, all right.
Well, I'm going against Tyson. I'm not taking him,
Right.
but
Right. Okay. So if you had a child, would you want them to be the most popular kid in their school?
no.
Oh, okay. Lion or tiger?
Lions. King of the jungle.
Favorite type of muffin?
Blueberry.
Ooh, choice. Giving gifts or getting gifts?
Giving.
Okay. Have you ever hit someone in the face?
Yeah.
Okay. Ideal outside temperature?
70 degrees.
Okay.
Sunny and 70.
Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant?
Ooh.
Here we go.
I grew up a Kobe fan.
Okay.
Not saying one's the GOAT, but
Okay.
Kobe all the way.
Okay. Hot or cold weather if you had to live in one forever?
Cold.
Okay. Favorite martial art if you had to pick one?
I really like jujitsu. Me and my roommate are talking about getting into that. So,
Dude, you
Yeah.
should. All right. LA or New York?
never been to New York, but I've been to LA, so I'm going to say New York.
Okay. Super Smash Brothers or Mario Kart?
Smash Bros.
Okay. Favorite genre of music?
I like metal.
Metal?
Yeah.
Okay. Last concert you went to?
Well, we watched a concert in my friend's living room recently.
Well, like actually, like physically, you go there, you park
Physically,
in the stands.
it was probably a band called The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, dude, they're good.
Yeah.
Wow, they're good. Okay, last question. Cars, trucks, or SUVs?
Trucks.
Okay. So that's it. Dang,
Sweet.
okay,
That was
nice,
fun.
man. So you're planning on going into jiu-jitsu with your roommate?
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. I've been thinking about it since, God, I don't even know how long, but it seems like it'd be so much fun to do.
How did that conversation come up? Were you just like watching?
It literally was like, hey man, want to do jujitsu? And I was like, yeah, I've wanted to do jujitsu forever.
Have you ever done any like martial arts or anything in the past?
I did some off-season wrestling in high school. I would do that in between like the football weight room and stuff, but never anything super formal.
Jiu-jitsu is cool. It's kind of like wrestling. So I wrestled for 6 years. The only difference is you're so used to being on offense and not being on your back that you have to get used to being on your back and being in a guard. So that's the only difference that's kind of uncomfortable, and that's something I got used to. But yeah, dude, that sport is amazing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about getting hit in the head. Someone
That's
chokes
true.
you out or gets you in your armbar, all you got to do is tap, and that's it.
Yeah. No getting punched in the face.
Yeah, it's so funny. Where do you live at?
I live in Tustin right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I think there's a couple of jiu-jitsu gyms out there. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good sport, man.
Yeah.
Like I love it. So how long have you been training? You said you've been in the fitness industry for 4 years?
Yeah, about 4 years now. Started when I was working a lot of overnight shifts and started following a trainer called Corey Gregory. Followed his stuff for a while. He had a
What does
squat
he
every
do?
day program. He was the former president of Muscle Farm.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so he does
Okay.
his own thing now, and I'm not super into his stuff anymore, but he got me started with like squat every day and just learning all these different things. So I started teaching myself like technique and whatever, and then when I wasn't working, putting it into practice and then writing programs for friends, and just kind of took off from there.
Okay. So what are you doing? Like, what's your main thing right now? You said you're a security guard right now?
Yeah, so I'm in charge of security for the Orange County Rescue Mission. That's my
Okay.
day job. And then I'm also working at Crunch Fitness in Tustin, doing their boot camps, and then have a football team I train.
Dang, so you're all over the place.
Yeah.
How long have you been training football kids?
This will be my 4th season with them. We started year 1, my dad was coaching, and he asked if I'd step in and do some strength and conditioning. I agreed to 1 day a week, and it turned into 4 or 5 days a week, and I was on the sidelines at games, but we were training a football team out of my garage.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's usually how it starts. Like you're like, okay, sure, I'll try this out maybe once or
Yeah.
twice a week. And you're like, I kind of like this. And then
Yeah.
you fall into that little
Yeah.
state where you're training every day and you don't even know.
It was
you know?
such like a ragtag thing too, like in a 1-car garage with a squat rack, like lots of bands, guys pushing my car, like doing whatever we could to get them
You
in
made
shape.
it work. How many people were in your garage at once?
It's a small team. It's a small school, but probably close to like between 15 and 20.
Really?
Yeah. So we
Well-
made it work.
What's the school called again?
It's Spirit Christian Academy. It's
They're-
a charter school.
Irvine, right?
Tustin Irvine
Okay.
border. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's an 8-man football league. So it's naturally a smaller team. But
Whoa.
we have guys that are homeschooled, guys that go to that school, guys that are in public school. So pretty much anyone high school age can be on that team.
Well, because football is an 11-man sport. So how does that work with 8-man?
So you have to have 5 men on the line as opposed to 7 on offense. And typically, like if we did like a 4 wide receiver set, you have 3 linemen. And so it gets
What?
interesting. Yeah. Or we'll
How does a
go,
quarterback get protected?
dude, if they bring 5 on the rush, well, you got 3 guys to cover the rest of them. So someone's got to be open, but
Right.
it's a super fast game. It's super interesting because of that. First year was such a learning curve. And like
Really?
this year, even it's still, but yeah, it's a blast because it's such a fast paced game. You could line up 5 men on the line, 2 running backs, and just ground and pound.
Are you guys still doing? You're still doing a 100 yards, right? You're still doing a full football field, or
Yeah. So the coaches you have to shrink the field down from 50 yards wide to 40. And then you can agree to play on a 100-yard field or an 80-yard field, but typically we'll play at 100.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Dang.
So guys will break off big runs and just go.
and you're all padded up, right?
Yep. Full pads, full tackle.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Are you a fan of the Arena Football League?
Yeah.
Like, you like that?
It's similar to that where it's like just
Okay.
super fast paced, high scoring.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like 40 points would be pretty average.
I like watching that, or even rugby, because when I watch the Arena Football League, when a receiver goes up in the air and catches it, and then you have a corner who just slams them right into the wall and they flip
Yeah.
over. It's
Yeah, that
so
would
cool.
suck.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So with COVID and everything going on, how are the kids doing? Like, are you at the school, or what are you guys doing right now because of everything going on?
So just by nature of it being such a small school, we train out of the gym that I lease space from anyways. So like that's why it started in my garage, because the school doesn't have like its own facility.
Oh, you guys don't have a facility?
No, so we practice at a park. We play our
Okay.
games actually at Santa Ana Stadium, where Mater Dei plays.
Oh,
This is a
got
little
it.
ragtag bunch of kids playing
Right.
at this like beautiful stadium. It's kind of funny because we never fill the stands.
Okay.
But so we're still able to train out of my gym because it's different regulations. But with the school, like certain times we've had to shut down. So we probably shut down twice, but just staying in touch with the kids, trying to get them different things that they can do on their own. Certain guys that are a little bit more comfortable coming and training while I'm training. So we're making it work.
Okay. And are you still seeing them five times a week, you said? Like in your garage and then at your facility and stuff like that?
So not right now. We're going to start back up on the field in September. We'll be doing some field work, just sprints, get them back in shape. Hope to sprinkle in some weight room stuff when I think we're on like the watch list for 14 days or whatever. So I think September 8th would be that day where gyms could open back up.
So how does that? So because Orange County just got off the watch list, right? So how does that work?
So they actually got put on the watch list. So it's
we get taken off?
14 days straight.
Okay.
And I think it's without a positive test. I'm not too sure about that part, but 14 days straight would put us at, I think, September 8th. And that's when things can open back up. So that's why we heard that, but like nothing's really changed just yet because we're still waiting.
Oh, and then so once September 8th comes, we can start slowly opening businesses back up.
In theory.
This whole thing's bullshit, dude. Like it kind of screws up everybody, especially when like we closed for a couple of months, right? And then everyone's like, oh, let's try to open back up. So it kind of gave us that false hope. And I'm like, all right, cool. Everything's going smoothly. Let's do this. And then we got shut down again. I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? And it kind of sucks because there's no timeline of when gyms or small businesses can open back up. They're just like, hey, we have to close down. And we're like, okay, well, what's the timeline of when we can open back up again? And it kind of sucks because like with your kids or clients or schools or other small businesses, they have no idea when they're going to open back up again. You know, it's frustrating, especially like, how are you supposed to run a business when you're not even, when you can't even go there or like be with kids at a football program or be with clients or when your gym shut down? You know, it's just like everybody's kind of running in the dark with a mask on. Hopefully they can figure it out. Yeah. So it kind of sucks, man.
Yeah, it's been tricky, but I think finding the positive or the benefit from this, because like, for example, with us, we're going to have certain regulations. Like when we get back on the field, we can't throw a ball because it's sharing an object, right? So doing sprints, walk through the playbook, we have this opportunity where everyone's in the same boat. Now we can take this extra time that we have to focus on the small nuances of the plays or sprint technique and put a bigger emphasis on like timed sprints or med ball throws, things that we didn't get to do too much of last year, but now that's all we can do this year. So from like a power production standpoint, we can do a lot and prime their bodies to get stronger once we get back in the weight room. But I think the priority is just going to be put on some muscle when they get back in the gym and try to just get them in shape and be powerful, quick, real twitchy athletes with the time that we have now. So, and know what the heck they're doing.
Are you on Zoom calls with them too, or no? You're just
we've done that a few times.
How's that working out? It's like
squirrely teenagers on a Zoom call. Yeah. It's whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I did it. So I'm just like, I mean, it works, but I don't know. It's just, I feel uncomfortable. It's just like, it's weird for me. I don't even FaceTime like my family.
Yeah.
Like if somebody tries to FaceTime me, I'll just hang up and I'll call them regularly. Like, hey, what's up? Like, what do you need? Like, that's not me. I'm not a fan of FaceTime.
Awkward.
Yeah. It's like, what's up, dude? You know, so.
We'll do a lot of FaceTimes between coaches and like our athletic directors or with the parents. But with the kids, we can just shoot them a text. We're in a group chat, and I think that's the easiest way to get a hold of them anyways. Because then they can kind of respond in their own time. We're not waiting on kids or trying to schedule something. Because inevitably we have a kid that will text an hour after the Zoom call and say, hey, are we meeting? And it's like, dude, come on.
Yo, where were you at, dude? We started an hour ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And kids, they lose track of time.
Yeah.
You know, like they're all over the place too.
Yeah.
So as far as like with all the coaches and stuff, do you guys just do Zoom calls or do you guys meet in person or?
We meet in person. One of our coaches is my former pastor and he's my parents' pastor. So like I'm close with him and his family.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
We're all kind of at the point where we're over it.
Yeah, I think everybody
we're ready to get going again. So if we have a chance to meet in person, we're going to meet in person.
Okay. Did you play sports in high school?
Yeah. So I played football. And then, like I said, I did some off-season wrestling. My mom was cool with me playing football, but not wrestling for some reason.
Really?
Yeah. I wanted to wrestle so bad. The varsity coach was trying to get me to wrestle. And then one time we were like messing around in off season and I got jabbed in the eye by someone's thumb. And she's like, see, nope, you're done.
That's weird because, dude, you're going against linemen that are 250 pounds and they're running at you 15 to 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
If you get hit, you're going to have a bad day. But like wrestling, you're wrestling at someone at your weight.
Exactly.
You know, so
yeah.
it's kind of weird.
I was like 6 foot, 160 pounds. So it's like I was not doing anything against like a pulling guard, you know.
Yeah.
But in wrestling, at least it's the same weight.
Yeah, exactly. And I like wrestling. So a lot of people did that in high school. They did wrestling and football. Wrestling actually helps football players tackle better.
Oh, I agree.
I don't know if a lot of people knew that, but some of the I don't know who. I'm having a brain fart right now, but one of my so I played football freshman year, and there's this guy, and he wrestled for all 4 years, and then he played football. He went and played college, and then played professionally in the NFL for the Miami Dolphins. And wrestling actually helped him tackle better. Like it's crazy how it works. Just because learning how to double leg, learning how to get lower, and kind of sizing everybody up, like it totally helps. I think they go really good together.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, wrestling's a tough sport too. It's one of those sports where it's just like it's hard, especially the conditioning and all the work you have to put into, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it give or take. Like football, you have to go 2-a-days in 100-degree weather and do that crap. But
that's what I loved, and that's why I'm training and coaching now, because like I remember, I think my sophomore year of high school, I was asking our strength coach, I'm like, how did you become a strength coach? Like, I enjoyed my time in the weight room way more than on the field.
really,
Granted, I wasn't a super stud athlete, but in the weight room, it's like that felt like home. That connected right away. Whereas mentally, the mental aspect of sports came much later with football.
is that what kind of got you into being a coach?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Like the weight, like once you hit the weight room, everything's kind of just clicked, and you kind of figure out where you wanted to go.
Yeah, because it was like, okay, why do we do this? What does this do? What does this work? What is this? And then you know, as a young person, you see your body change. You get stronger. You're putting up bigger numbers. And Coach Singletary at Foothill was just a phenomenal coach in my eyes. I think he was really good. He was the only coach in the gym, and he had like 50 plus kids, and
Dang,
he handled it, man.
Really?
Yeah, he was legit. He had energy. He was smart. He was an awesome, awesome guy. He's not on any social media, and to find his phone number, I tracked down like 6 coaches and went through like 6 guys to get his number. And then I changed my phone and I lost his number.
That
So I
is
have no way
crazy.
to contact him.
the old school yellow phone books, dude.
Dude, he's like, I'm off the grid. I'm off the grid.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? He just doesn't want any exposure, or
No,
what?
Just he doesn't really care. Like he was getting college offers when he was working with us, but he had a son that he wanted to be a part of his life, so he stayed in Tustin. But yeah, he was getting offers from like D1 college schools.
That's crazy. How old is he?
He was, I mean, I'm bad at guessing age, but he was probably mid to late 30s when I was in high school.
I think it's like different times, right? Because now everything's about getting content out there, posting and
Yeah.
hashtagging and all that stuff. Like, it's definitely changed. But what I have noticed is you'll get the quality of people, especially as a coach, through word of mouth. Like, that's the number one hugest thing that I've realized. Other people's recommendations will come in, and it'll be a lot. It usually works out a lot better that way than when you post and have somebody come in, because that person trusts Jeff's judgment or Tracy's judgment, whoever referred them, and then they refer their friends, and then it becomes like a huge community, right? So usually that old school, not technique, but that way has always worked out for the better, you know?
Yeah. I think
Word
I've
of mouth.
definitely gotten more clients through word of mouth than any social
Instagram,
media promoting
Instagram
or anything I've done.
Facebook, yeah.
For sure.
It's funny how that works that way.
Yeah.
Well,
Especially
how old are you?
working. I'm 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, you're 25?
Yeah.
Okay.
How old do you think I was?
So I'm 28 and I look like I'm 12. I thought you were probably like my age.
Okay.
Yeah.
I turned 26 next month, so
There you go.
we're
You're
right
up there.
Yeah.
But you're still like in social media. You're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I got Instagram like maybe a year or two ago, though.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. Whoa. That's crazy. A lot of people your age, like it came out in 2010. So that's when I got it. And then I took a break and then now I'm back on it. But just like what we have to do here for trainer talk and everything else like that about content, you have to keep pressing and keep pushing out content, using hashtags and all that stuff.
Figuring
it's crazy.
out the algorithms.
Yeah, it's crazy how times changed. You know, it's like it's wild. Especially like when I was in high school, like football and the way we trained, it was completely different to what goes on now. A lot more people, a lot more coaches are getting smarter. There's a lot more content out there that is being created that everybody's looking at, like YouTube or Instagram posts or Facebook. Where back then when I lifted, it's like squat with your head high and just use all your body and like just horrible cueing. And now I got older, I'm like, wow, my coach did a shit job coaching me when I was squatting.
Well, it's crazy though, because like, especially at the high school level, most guys aren't, and it's funny that I say this, aren't qualified, but I'm not a strength and conditioning coach either. So case in point, right? I had that title, but I don't have like the cert.
Right.
And so many guys too, they double as a positions coach or whatever. It's like, oh, you have a buff wide receivers coach, like you can take over the weight room, like, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, Jesus.
Which again, I'm also the football coach, not just the strength coach. So that's not my only priority.
Right.
Now, it's a little different because that was where I started, you know, that's my passion, whatever. But most cases, like that's how it is. Or like the head coach will be like the PE teacher and he'll be like, yeah, I'll open up the weight room and work on the playbook while you guys lift, just nobody die.
What the
You know,
heck?
like they just throw up some numbers and throw up some sets and reps. And that's really the culture of most high school weight rooms. Now they're getting smarter and they're hiring out, but typically you won't see a school having a strength coach.
Private schools, because they have the funding too.
Yeah.
Most public schools won't, because in that aspect, public schools are, they really don't have that free extra cash on the side to hire out a strength coach or anything else like that. Private schools, though, they're really on top of it as far as keeping their athletes healthy, focused on recovery, explain to them how to lift, pre-work, post-work, the weightlifting aspect as itself. But I think as time goes on, I think every school should shift to that, to where if you're not going to hire out, at least have the person in charge get a little bit smarter in that aspect and not just open the garage and be like, hey, go balls crazy, like just don't die, like whatever you guys want to do type of thing, you know? So I'm hoping people change that direction, but we'll see.
It's funny though, because like whenever our head coach did just that, like Singletary wouldn't be there. Case would be like, all right, open gym, do whatever you want. But like as a 15-year-old, it's like, hell yeah, I'm going to do a bunch of bicep curls, do some abs.
Dude, you're going to do some bench. All you're going to do is bench press, abs, and bicep curls. Like,
then with
that's all
Singletary,
you're
it's like
do.
we're doing the Olympic lifts, we're squatting heavy, we're deadlifting, we're doing all these different things, a lot of single leg movements.
Right.
But looking back, it's the things that you appreciate and you realize, okay, like this guy knew what he was talking about.
Yeah. As you gotten older, you're like, okay, this is why he did this, because of this. The other coach is like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that, you know? So that's funny. What was I going to ask you? Damn, I'm having a brain fart right now. I'm having lots of brain farts. Roscoe, your coffee's killing me.
How is that killing you?
Dude,
That should help your brain.
I took a sip and literally I'm bouncing off the walls right now like the Energizer Bunny.
Dude, I feel completely fine.
So are you fully in charge of the football program? You're the
I'm the head
guy.
coach now.
So how many people are you in charge of other coaches?
So this
how does that structure work?
This will be my first year as the head coach, and it sucks that COVID and everything happened. My first year, as if there wasn't enough pressure, but we have possibly 2 to 4 coaches. 2 guys are maybe right now. 2 are for sure locked in. So that would be like my coaching staff. And we may have a named offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator. I came from offensive coordinator. So play calling's my thing. That's what I really enjoy, and I like that. So I'd like to keep that duty. But if I delegate it, I delegate it, and we can work, 2 guys on that one task.
Oh, okay.
But then in the weight room, I've had a few guys ask about coming and like shadowing, so I can have guys come in and kind of help out in that regard. One of our coaches is a big fitness guy too. He's really, I think in his 40s, he squatted like over 400 or something. Like he's legit. He's super strong. So he knows a thing or two, and he has a kinesiology degree. So
there you go.
yeah, he's super helpful.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of just go like sections of, okay, a group of 4 guys, like 3 groups of 4 guys or whatever. And just
You'll have
a
more
coach.
of a basic structure to it.
Yeah.
You'll be more organized and have everybody in their place.
But my coaching staff, it's pretty small, but most schools in our league only have maybe 2 or 3 coaches. So it's pretty standard for our league.
So how many kids are at that school? 'Cause you said it's a small school, right?
Yeah. I don't even know how many kids they actually have, but kids on our team could be anywhere from like 3 to 8. Like we don't get a lot of kids. Like the football program's not a big deal at the school. They're known for basketball and they're legit in basketball, but also basketball's 5-man. It's not.
Yeah, it's not like an 11-man sport, whereas football is.
Exactly. So they're not any different than a regular team. So they can play these regular teams. But to do a scrimmage, we're not going to be like, hey, Mater Dei want to take 3 guys off the field. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen. So
are they, so what's the grade? Is it grades, like, what is it? 6 through 12 or
so
8, 7 through 12?
the school itself is, I think, like K through 12. But the football team is just high school aged. So we could have, and because it's by age, not necessarily grade, we could have a freshman in college on our team, and we could have an 8th grader on our team. And they could be going against each other.
How does that work out?
if you're 14 in 8th grade or going into 9th grade, and if like I graduated at 17, so I could have played as a college student.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you go to college at?
I went to Santiago Canyon for I think like 3 or 4 semesters. I didn't finish.
Really? No, that was the same with me. I went to SEC and I did 2 years, and then school wasn't really for me. Because when I found training, I was like, I don't really know about school. I can't sit still.
Yeah.
So I can't sit still in a classroom unless we were in lab for anatomy or physiology class, and we were looking at the different organ systems and skeletal structures and stuff like that. So that aspect of it was cool, but like sitting down in a history class, like, dude, I'm in Snoozeville. So I feel you in the same way. Like I could not like go into a 4-year or transfer to a 4-year. That was not me.
Yeah, school was not for me. I started working full time like right after, and was just kind of like, okay, I'll get back to it maybe. And no.
As far as our job's concerned, like as being a coach, I don't even think, college degrees, it's cool, but I don't think they matter that much.
No, and I mean for certain things, like if I wanted to get into strength and conditioning at the college level, unless I was just like the best, I would need a degree.
Well, yeah. So you need a 4-year degree, and then you need to take the CSCS, of course, and then go from there. But like that's if you want to like perform, like play with like the Trinity League. If you wanted to be a strength and conditioning coach at Orange Lutheran, Mater Dei, you wanted to be Cal State Fullerton coach, Stanford University, you would need that. But our job as a coach or a personal trainer, I don't really see the need to go to a college unless you're into something specific. Like if you want to be a doctor or you want to be a nurse or some practice like that, I think college is good. But a lot of people just go into it with a sense that they don't even know what they want to do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sucks. Like
Yeah.
I took a year off and I figured, I'll try this out. Went 2 years, it's not working out. And then now I'm 8 years later, but I've learned so much as the years went on as a personal trainer that I really didn't see the need for a college degree, just because you can go and look a video up on YouTube or get a little snippet video on Instagram or go to seminars and pay money for that. And then take little classes online, and then you get different certifications coming in, and then your knowledge expands from there.
Yeah.
So
it's a much more hands-on way of learning. And I think that the ceiling for training is so much higher than people realize. Like, it's one of those things, and I honestly do think it's like an art form. And artists, I think, are taken advantage of in a sense of like, oh, you do pictures? Like, take my pictures. Or, oh, you do training? Write me a training program. And it's like, no. This is like our livelihood. This is a passion. It's an art form to us. We're doing a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a legitimate practice. It's a legitimate business. Right. And I think that there's so many people that go through schooling, get certifications, and have no idea what they're doing. And it's crazy. Like,
that happens more than normal.
Yeah. I mean, when I interviewed at Crunch, the guy that interviewed me had gotten his cert like, I think 9 months before. And we were talking. He's like, wait, you don't even have a certification yet? Sound like you know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, I've been training people for like 2.5 years, like,
right,
which isn't a long time, but it's like, you got this 9 months ago, dude. Like, you're regurgitating the book. That doesn't help.
Yeah. The book doesn't tell you what you're going to experience in real life. In a matter of training from client to client, you're going to go into so many unexpected obstacles, right? With person A to person B, C, all the way to person Z. Everybody's different. Everybody's body's different. Everybody's bodies move a different way. So that's something that the book does not teach you. Yeah, you can learn where all the bones are at and how the muscles work and muscle fiber types and stuff like that. But until you get out into the field and experience it for yourself, that's something that the book won't teach you.
Yeah. And it's like, if you want to just start saying out technical terms like, okay, we're going to move through the sagittal plane today. It's like, no one cares.
Yeah,
no one knows what that means.
No general population person that you're training, maybe one person, like they're not going to want to hear that. They're going to be like, okay, we're going to move laterally. We're going to do this exercise. This does this. Yeah. And then they fully understand it. They don't care how technical you get with the terms. Like, I've seen so many trainers or coaches, like, they'll talk to their clients that way. And I'm like, dude, they have no idea what the fuck you are talking about. Like,
I think it's like, you truly know what you're talking about when you can explain it to a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's like, at my work, so there's a gym at the rescue mission where I work security. And so during COVID, I'll train there. I'll train at my gym. But we had kids that were going into high school. And they're like, hey, can we work out with you? I'm like, yeah. One kid turned to 2. And then I think I had like 6 or 7 guys in the gym that were between the ages of, I think, 9 or 10 to like 13, 14. And like being able to explain to a 9-year-old why we're squatting, why we're doing this. And like, granted, it's with like 5 pounds or no weight, but to be able to break it down and explain why this is going to benefit him in baseball or soccer or whatever sport, or just because he's like, sweet, let's do it. Yeah. Then you have that buy-in.
And then they're like, oh, I get it. And then as they grow older, as a kid, they'll be so far ahead of the curve past the rest of their team that they'll be like, oh, Coach Alex already taught me how to do that. Like, I already know what I'm doing, And then they'll be like, what? And so they'll look like a genius. You'll be like, oh, like this, So it's cool training kids, because I train 2 kids. A lot of energy.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to keep them busy.
A lot of energy. But it's cool teaching them those movements and them learning that in the process.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm getting this next generation ready for what they're going to do in the future in a way. And then, it usually sticks. Like, kids are very quick learners. For whatever reason, they can learn fast.
Yeah.
For me, like, if I have to, wait, what? What was that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Wait, what was that again? Like, I'll lose track.
Yeah.
Kids just pick it up.
Like, let me put this on my calendar so I can be very intentional with this time to make sure I'm focused.
Dude, adults are different. We have I don't know what it is. We have a different mindset with things. Like with kids, like they just get everything instantly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah. And I think that's one thing too, though, we forget. And I for sure forget, but it's like, they're kids. If I'm too hard on the 14-year-old in the weight room or on the field, it's like, he's a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, with the kids at the mission, when it became so many, it's like, okay, we can't have all these guys in the gym at once because there's adults that want to work out. It's a small space. So it's like, okay, let's warm up. We're going to play ultimate frisbee. we're going to play pickup basketball. We're going to play. Get your heart rate up, get moving. You were sitting in a chair all day.
Yeah.
Let's start moving and let's have fun. And then some days they'd be like, can we just play ultimate frisbee all day? And it's like, sure. You know what I mean? Like
they're working on rotational stuff. They're working on throwing, like they're doing everything. And you're not just going through the basic movements with them. You know?
And granted, it's like if that was my football team or a paid client, okay, it's different.
Right.
But they're kids, like let them play. And like with our football team last year during our bye week, we're like, okay, let's do all practices without pads, no hitting, let guys just heal. I think we played 7-on-7 touch rugby and like a version of ultimate frisbee, but with a football, like every day. And it was so much fun. Like I jumped in one day and I was like, this is the best game ever. Like this is awesome.
Yeah. Do you ever play pickup football games? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have flags in the back of my car and we'll do flag football.
That is cool.
We used to do it a lot, but we haven't done it for a while, but it's so much fun.
Especially, I used to do it every Thanksgiving. So every morning we had like a turkey bowl.
Yeah, that's what we do.
And then sometimes it would rain.
Yeah.
So I used to love just playing football, or sometimes we play tackle football, but just something in the rain and just getting really like just messed up.
Yeah.
And you come back dirty. Like,
this last year it was pouring rain and we played. We had to work an event beforehand. So I was up at like 3:30 or whatever to work at 4. And we were working out in the rain and I was like, it's cold, it's miserable.
Yeah.
But then we got to the football field and it's like,
something turns on.
It should be.
Yeah. Like I'm freaking ready, dude. Like let's go.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know, man. Like I haven't. Last time I played was last Thanksgiving, and I don't even know how it's gonna be this Thanksgiving because everybody's like,
oh, that's true.
Don't touch me. Like I don't want to do that. You know. So
that's sad. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. See, this whole COVID thing messed everything up because now you have to look at how is Thanksgiving going to be? How is Christmas going to be? Like those are the holidays where people see each other the most, you know, and you're right there with your families. Like there's always a designated house to where everybody meets up, right?
Yeah.
And there's always that house that everybody goes to. There's 15 people just packed in and you guys are hugging and kissing each other and cheersing glasses and stuff and eating and stuff like that. Now it's like, what are you going to FaceTime? Like have 15 different screens? Like it's bullshit, you know? It's sad. It's sad to see and it's sad to even think about. Like Thanksgiving as well. It's the same thing. You're gathered with family. Everybody's around each other, hugging each other, you know? So I'm kind of interested to see what those two holidays are going to be like and how things are going to be, you know? Because everybody's different, right? So I have some family members that don't even want to like get out of their house, where I have some and they're like, hey, like let's hang out.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like I'm down. Like I'll get in my car and drive to see you.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like last month we celebrated my niece's birthday and
did you guys do the drive-by thing?
No. So we were all together, but like she had a cake and I was like, wait, do we have her blow out the candles? Like,
oh, like, I didn't even think about
stupid things that we're thinking about now. And my sister was like, Brooklyn, blow out the candles. Like,
like no big deal.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of sucks, especially when it's somebody's birthday. They do that whole drive-by thing. I don't know.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like here's my opinion. Like this is my personal opinion. I think if you're around people, right? So COVID obviously is a real thing. It's a real disease that's going around and it's affecting people and putting people in hospitals,
of course,
causing death. But if you're around people that you know and you've known for a long time, I don't think it's such a bad idea to have a little bit of a hangout. You know, like if it's a birthday party and you have a few kids over and you've known them for 10 plus years, like that's different.
Yeah.
Than if you have random people come at your house and you have no idea who they are or you know, what they bring or if they have been tested or not, you know. But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
With my work, I think I've been tested now 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Just by nature of, now we're doing monthly testing. So it's like, okay, I think I have one on the calendar for next month already. Like, it happens. But we also work with a lot of young people. So like our coworkers will go and play volleyball after work. Well, we've all been tested. We've all been working together. Cool.
Yeah.
Or we have like you said, that friend group. Just grow it a little bit at a time. Like, you know, oh, well, so-and-so saw so-and-so. Well, I guess they're fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like none of us got
exactly.
sick. And
Yeah.
like,
And you're getting tested too. So I got tested, I believe, a month ago. But as long as you get tested and you're on that process of being tested every month or bi-weekly, and you don't have it, you're not showing symptoms, I mean, I think you're fine.
yeah. And like, I was tripping out at first with when I was still working at Crunch, teaching boot camps, still doing football, and COVID was like just kind of getting big. And like, we were quarantining people at our work. Like, if someone tested positive or had symptoms, or no, if someone had symptoms, we quarantined them for precaution. Someone tested positive, we traced anyone that they've had contact with and quarantined them. So like, I got a call one night. It's like, hey, we're putting like 80 people on quarantine. We need to get like, we need help. So like, I came back into work and, you know, I mean, thankfully though, we've had a handful of cases, but nothing big. Like,
so how's Crunch doing right now? Like they're completely closed, right?
They, I think, just opened back up for one-on-one training. But for the time being, that's it. It's like you have an appointment. I think there's maybe like 5 or 6 people in the gym at a time, and that's it. Yeah.
Where's this Crunch at?
It's in Tustin in Larwin Square.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. Because before the second closure, they had a thing to where you can go in a gym, but you have to make an appointment.
Yeah.
Everybody has 45 minutes to an hour to get their workout in, and then they have to leave.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane. I had a friend who's a girl, and I asked her, I was like, hey, how is it? She went to LA Fitness. She's like, it's bullshit. Because they're kind of like hall monitors. They go around and they take note of who came in at what time.
Yeah.
They have certain blocks. So like, hey, 5 a.m., you're coming in, 4 a.m., leave. You know? So it's like, and then when you're just getting your last set and they're like, hey, you need to leave right now. Like, it's
and like no one wants
strict.
to enforce that. Like that sucks. Like, I mean, we would have police in and out of the gym all the time because there's a lot of homeless people in that area. There's a bar right there. So like we had a good police presence in that shopping center. And like they came in one day when I was doing boot camp and like everyone stopped. I'm like, keep working. Like, we'll see you in a minute. But like just like get as many reps in as you can right now. Because like, you know, who knows if it's going to close. But
damn. Did they shut you guys down when the police came in or no?
No, they gave us a notice. Well, I mean, technically, yes. They said like you're closing today at 6 or whatever the time was, but they didn't say everybody out right now. So
that's
they gave
nice.
us a couple hours.
That was insane. Or the thing that was crazy was the curfew.
Yeah,
that's what tripped me out, dude.
Yeah.
Everybody in their home by 6 p.m., 7 p.m. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
That's when it was like, okay, this is serious, and like how much of this is legit. Because like I've seen people with COVID. I know people that have had COVID. I know it kills people, but like the stats are the people who die the most, and granted, death is death. That's never something to take lightly. They're over the age of the life expectancy, like the average life expectancy, which is like 77 or whatever. They're all like 84 or more. Like, so they're already living past the average life expectancy. So it's never fair, I think, to say like, this is not a big deal because that's someone's grandma, that's someone's mom, whatever. Right. But statistically speaking, it's like, that's what we have to go off of, this science, these statistics of what we see. And so it gets tricky, but I mean,
not only that, the people who are going into hospitals and they're being put in ICU and they're dying left and right, or people who also have underlying health issues.
Yeah.
So from your liver to your heart to your kidneys, from your lungs, diabetes, type 2, type 1, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, overweight, obese, like all of that comes into play. And COVID just is the cherry on top that goes, here you go. Like, oh shit, now I'm in the hospital.
The straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of sucked because I talked about this I think it was a couple podcasts ago. It's like we need physical fitness. We need to move. We need to be able to keep our bodies in check. The reason why our heart is working the way it is because we are doing HIIT training or Tabata, like whatever training you are doing, you are working your body out and you are getting a positive effect from it. Like your health issues start to decline a little bit, instead of rise up. And that's one thing that kind of pushed me over the edge with the whole gym shutting down. I'm looking around like this is something we need more than ever, and now you're fucking taking it away. Like
this is the solution.
Yeah, this is actually the solution, and what you need to be doing is, what is that called? You need to be enforcing, like, hey, everybody needs to be working out. Everybody should be taking care of their health issues. Everybody should be getting some type of exercise in. You know that what it was a commercial, and it says you should be exercising 60 minutes a day. Remember that?
Yeah, it was like NFL play 60.
They don't do that anymore.
No.
They're not like, hey, everybody should be out and you should be exercising 60 minutes a day. They used to do that with kids. They're not even doing that now. And I'm like, where has health gone? Like, does it not matter anymore?
Yeah. And my big question right now too, it's like, especially with the kids, like everyone's homeschooled. What are you doing for PE?
Yeah.
You know, kids need to play. They're rowdy. They're angsty. Like they need to move around. Well, PE's, it's to keep them in shape and healthy, but like also to get all the wiggles out. You know what I mean? And like
their kids
at home, what are they doing?
Yeah, they're kids. Like you told me, they're kids. They're 14 years old. They're 10 years old. They're 9 years old. They have that energy built up, and them just sitting there is just destroying them. I saw a video. I don't know what page it was on, and it was this 10-year-old kid, and the boy's mom was recording him. This kid literally had a mental breakdown on the freaking Zoom call because, one, he was sitting there for 8 hours. He wasn't getting it. Like he wasn't. I don't think he was understanding the homework he was doing or the work, whatever it was. But he just literally had a mental breakdown. I'm like, it's starting young now.
Yeah.
You know, like when you get older. Yeah, we have mental breakdowns, but we can handle it differently depending on the person, right? So we're all older. We all kind of have a grasp on life and our work capacity, what we can handle. Kids, they're just starting out. They don't know. So if you put them in front of a computer for 8 hours a day, they're gonna freak out. They're gonna have mental breakdowns.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why so many adults have anxiety and depression is because we sit in front of computers all day and we're not having these real intimate interactions with people. Now we're doing that to our kids.
Yeah.
Right? Like kids are supposed to be kids. They're supposed to play and be carefree. And that's not happening right now. And that's really just so sad for our society and for our future because like these kids need to be just that. They need to be kids. They need to play, have fun, make friends. Like we're going to see this weird like awkward generation of like people who don't know how to interact. Like, do I shake hands? Do I hug? Like, do we kind of elbow bump? Like, what do we do?
Yeah, I've even ran into that some myself. Like with my clients, I'll do like one person does like a foot, like a high five with a foot. Sometimes I do a bump, a fist bump. Sometimes I do an elbow bump, just depending on the person. But yeah, it's this little weird, awkward, sticky situation that we're in, where you don't know because that person might be okay with it, like handshaking, or that person's like, hey, don't touch me.
Yeah.
You know? And the generations coming up, it sucks because they're on their phones 24/7, like TikTok.
Hate TikTok.
I'm way too old for TikTok, but the people that are 21, 22, a little bit below that, that's all they do is they know how to navigate that. They're very smart with Instagram. They're very smart with social media. But when it comes to one-on-one talking with somebody, they're very awkward as it is. So I think this is making it worse.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, yeah, you can talk to your mom, dad, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa, uncles, aunts, cousins. But what are you going to do when you step out of your comfort zone of the people that you haven't talked to? Like how, not socially, kind of socially awkward. How awkward is it going to be for that kid to meet another kid his age, you know, and they're not going to have anything to talk about. And then they're just going to be sitting there on their phones, not interacting with each other. And that's a sad thing about it is too. It's like you see all these kids when you go into restaurants, they're on their phones 24/7.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, dude, put that phone down, talk with your parents, see how your day was. You know?
I heard you say it on one of the other podcasts too. I forget who you were talking to about the no phone rule when you're on like dates or whatever.
Yeah.
And growing up, we were never allowed to have phones at the table. And like typically, especially because how big phones have gotten now, like I always take it out when I sit down because it's too big for my pocket.
It's bulky. Yeah.
I've noticed like I'm on my phone now. So like now I'm trying to be intentional with like leaving it to the side. And granted, I'm on call all the time.
Right.
But it's like, no, I need to disconnect and like being very intentional. Like you had said that and another friend had said something. So I was like, I've been intentionally like
It's
leaving it away,
triggered
so I'm
now,
not
right?
at
It's
the
triggered.
table on the phone. Yeah.
It was funny. I was at this place we were eating with my friends. It was me and 3 other people, and my buddy. He was on his phone. I was like, dude, put your phone away. Like, come on, let's
Yeah.
talk. He's like, fuck, you caught me. You know, it's like we need that. Like, yeah, we need our phones to call people. I'll have my phone on just in case an emergency happens. But if I'm having a conversation with somebody, or going out with friends, or even on a date, like, I mean, I'll just leave it in my car.
Yeah.
That I'll have it on, but I won't be focused on it. Like, we're too focused on the electronic that's in
Yeah.
our hands. It's like it's attached to us.
Mhm.
You know, it's really sad. And then now there's fucking watches that you can look at. The iWatch, you can talk to it now. Like, you can get a message, and you can, like, I don't even have an iWatch, but
I know I'm looking like,
dude, I'm not gonna get that. But you push a button and you talk to it, and it sends what you said in a message, and you can send it to the other person. You can get phone calls on the iWatch, so it's literally attached to our bodies.
yeah.
You know, so it's going to be pretty interesting in the next 20 years just to kind of see how things turn out,
Yeah.
just based on like what I'm seeing. You know, for me, I'm kind of an old soul. Like, I mean, I'll use my phone or whatever, but it depends on the situation.
Yeah. Well, and that's like socially how it's going to affect us too, because like physically even, I mean, when you get a client that comes in, you do like an assessment, typically people's mobility is not there. Like
Right.
if you ask someone to sit in a deep squat, it's not going to look good.
Right.
It's not going to be comfortable. That's because they're sitting in a chair, you know, from school 8 hours a day and then to work 8 hours a
Everything's
day.
locked up.
Then, you know, the hips just don't work, the joints don't work, and they're just stiff. Well, kids are already sitting at desks all day. Now we're doing everything online.
Oh, you got a good point.
We're going to
Yeah.
have kids showing these signs earlier and earlier. And I think that will honestly lead to more injuries in youth sports if we have them.
Yeah.
And we're going to see that earlier and earlier. And those clients that are 30, 40, 50, it'll be worse than it is before.
Yeah, because it's going to start at a younger age.
Exactly.
That process is going to start at 8 and 9 years old, where it started with us when we got our careers going at 21, 22, 23, you know? So now it's going to affect them, I think, a lot more. And it's kind of like the NFL, you know, like an NFL player has a life expectancy of like 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
These kids, like, it's going to be the same thing with that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of crazy to see where that goes, you know? Like, I don't know, man. Everything's just flipped out, upside down right now.
It's going to be a trip because you'll see a lot of those negatives, but then there will also, I think, be a lot of positives from forced time off.
Right.
Like taking like a forced deload from sport, from training, from whatever.
Right.
Will have benefits if you're smart.
Right.
Because I mean, you might be doing more isolation with bands.
Right.
Excuse me. More mobility, different things that just because that's all you can do.
Right.
Then you get back under a barbell and you're moving better.
Mhm.
And so I think that there's going to be some positive to that. I was reading this research article by Jake Tura, dude is a madman. He is so smart, talking about reverting muscle fibers. So I'm naturally a very slow twitch person.
Okay.
It like jumping like feels like really difficult, really lazy. And this article was showing how sedentary people have a high amount of fast twitch fibers just by being sedentary. Weightlifters or people who lift heavy objects have like the lowest count.
Right.
So the theory was taking like 2 months off, their fibers would revert.
Oh, shit.
And so like I had taken like a deload when COVID first happened just from stress. I wasn't
Mhm.
training hard, maybe a month. And I came back and that's when I started trying to work towards dunking and I was already hitting PRs. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. And then I read that article and was like, son of a gun, like
It clicks.
it
Everything-
clicks.
Yeah.
So, but I would plan my training around that and take 3-4 days off, which especially when you know what you're doing, it's like,
Right.
I just want to go do something.
Right. I want to move. I want to lift weights. Yeah.
But I was seeing the benefit of an added inch or two on my jumps. So it's crazy because we're going to have this higher amount of fast twitch muscle fibers in athletes.
Right.
because they haven't been doing anything.
Oh, that's true. Damn. Where'd you find this guy?
I don't even know. Probably. So there's this trainer in Indianapolis I follow, Justin Ochoa.
Okay.
I think I probably saw his stuff initially from him.
Uh-huh.
He's a college basketball strength coach, Jake
Okay.
Tura. But he's like the last 3 programs I've done were by him. It was like vertical jump focused.
Oh, got it.
Dude is brilliant.
Really?
With knee health, tendon health, big on yielding isometrics.
Okay.
So we played with those last year with our football team as opposed to running before
Right.
games. We would build up to 3-5 minutes of an isometric lunge per side,
Right.
take a day off, and then go play the game. And guys were coming out a lot
Performing.
more explosively.
Yeah.
Yeah. Versus you're beating yourself down, you're a little sore, you're whatever. And it shows like these ISOs are helping guys be more explosive, have a little bit more pop with jumping, with sprinting, with maintaining muscle mass. So during this time, it's like I've been telling my guys, do ISOs, do ISOs, do ISOs, because you're going to maintain a lot more of that you've built up versus just lose it by doing nothing.
Right. Well, it's better too because even with like lifting, right? It's better if you build a solid base and you've been lifting for 6 or 7 years, right? And kind of like the deload where everything shut down. Roscoe and I, we would lift in his garage, but we weren't pushing heavy weight.
Yeah.
We would just focus on pounding out 5 by 20 reps on squats.
Jeez, yeah.
And we came back, dude. I was still pushing the same weight on my squat. I was still squatting like 225. I was like, what the hell is going on? But my movements were better because I was more focused on how deep am I going? Where are my hips? Yeah, on the mechanics of it. Where are my knees going? How's my ankle flexion? Like all that stuff came together. I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then, like you said, so I started doing a different program where I do a deload every 4 weeks now. And I feel great. Like, because as we get older, we can't really handle what we did when we were 18. It's not like, I don't know if you did this, but when I was a kid, or not a kid, young adult, at 18 years old, you would just go on a bench press. All right, let's put like 185 and you start going for reps. Dude, we can't do that now. You literally have to warm up.
Yeah.
You got to get some resistance
I'll see
work,
my kids
activation.
do that. I'm like, stop.
Yeah. Hey, Timmy, put 225. All right, let's do it. And then they just start going. You're like, no. That's not how it goes.
Yeah, the only person I've ever seen, and not even in person, but like squat without really warming up. Not like he did like mobility, but like Ray Williams, the guy who squats over 1,000.
Oh, yeah.
His first like warm up set's 275. But I mean, he's squatting over 1,000 pounds. So I'd tell my kids, like, do you squat that? Are you that giant?
Yeah.
Are you a beast? No.
Yeah.
Stick to the bar.
Yeah.
Like,
So that guy's, that's different. That guy has been genetically gifted by God
that's
himself.
a quarter of his max.
Yeah.
Like
That's true.
if you're squatting 200 pounds, the bar is a quarter of your max. You better start there.
Yeah.
Like
that's essentially where everybody starts too. Like when I squat, I'll build myself up, right? So I'll start off with like foam rolling. So that would be my first thing. And then I'll go through maybe 5 to 10 minutes on that. And then I will do activation work. So a lot of glute work, sumo walks, monster walks, glute bridges. And then I'll go into a goblet squat.
Yeah.
And then I'll go into the bar. And then I'll be like, okay, let's go 50% of what I'm squatting for 5 reps. Let's go 70%. And then let's go 90. By the time I'm doing 100% of what I normally do, dude, it's like butter.
Yeah.
You're so warmed up. Whereas, because I've been there where I've gone into a squat and I'm like, fuck, everything hurts.
Yeah.
And by the time you're done doing however many sets you're doing, you're like, oh, now I'm warmed up, but now I have to move on to my next exercise.
Yeah.
So
the warm up for me, I'm still trying to get it down because like for the longest time I would do too much of a warm up because I would always for squat, bench, deadlift, whatever, I always go bar, 25, 45, 45, 25. So it's like taking this time, but which I think when I was more of a novice, it was helpful because you're getting that added volume.
right.
Now, I think I'm just wearing myself out because like how you said, you'll do 50% of your top set, 70, 90, go. That's where like I started hitting, like I was stuck at a bench PR for like a year and a half. I did that, instantly hit a PR.
Yeah.
So I wasn't tired.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just depends on the individual person as itself.
yeah.
Like somebody can get super worn out with that, whereas person B, they might feel excellent too. So it's completely different just based on the person.
Yeah. And like, I always take certain weights as like okay, this is my gauge. Like when I squat, like if I work up to 275, depending on how that feels, it's like, okay, this is going to be a good session or like whatever.
Yeah.
Or it's not in the cards today. Like just take what I can,
Yeah.
go on the lower end of the percentage and whatever. Or bench, it's like 185 and whatever.
Honestly,
But-
now since I've gotten older, I look forward to deload weeks now
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh yes, I can. You're not relaxing, you're still working out, but I maybe work at a 60% load
Yeah.
of what I do, and I'm just like, thank God.
Yeah.
My joints are taking a break. Like everything's nice and smooth now.
One of the guys I follow pretty closely on Instagram is a trainer in Georgia, Mitch Gill. And I did one of his programs, and his deloads were interesting because he would take it and start like a slow eccentric phase. So you're working like 6 seconds down, 6 to 9 seconds down or something crazy. And like, you're going to be sore at first because you're not used to that.
Right.
And just by the nature of a slow eccentric. But I was talking to him because I was like, hey, is there a deload? He's like, just wait for next week. Because when you're playing with this eccentric, you naturally go slower, lighter weight.
Right.
And then the first time you're doing it too, you're going to like start with say 70 pounds, go, nope, can't do that. Go down to 50. You're going to play on you're going to err on the side of caution
Right.
and go a little bit lighter.
Right.
So without really having to deload, you deload just by nature of like a slower eccentric.
Oh.
Now you're forcing yourself to use lighter weight or do a different variation. So maybe instead of back squat, you front squat or front squat with a pause where you're going to force yourself to go lighter. I'm like, dude, that's brilliant.
That is so smart. I never even
Because
thought
then
of
you're
that.
not telling kids or if you're training like a power lifter or someone that just wants to be strong, wants to always do something, do 50%. They're like, no, like I'm bored. Like I'm not going to do that.
But all you have to do is just change the tempo of how you're doing that.
Yeah.
Hey, the tempo today is we're going to be doing a 901, so 9 second eccentric,
Yeah.
0 seconds on the bottom, and you're going to pop back up
Yeah.
in less than a second or 1 second.
Yeah.
You know?
So you feel like you're doing a lot of work, and you are, but your body's not doing the same work that it was. So it's giving you that kind of deload sense and that rest.
Okay.
Yeah. Super interesting. but
Really? I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to try it. Damn.
Yeah. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, man. Like I'm really playing with the eccentrics right now.
Right.
That's been so fun for me. Like,
So, and it's crazy because the older I'm getting too. So when I was younger, like I would stick to a major like bodybuilding split, like hypertrophy, a lot of volume, super split, legs one day, chest another day, triceps one, and biceps another day. But now as I'm getting older, I'm playing with more stuff like that. I'm learning about, okay, what should I do with this? And then how can I get more sets in with, how can I get more sets and more repetitions in less days a week? Like it's getting down to science based, and I'll explore different avenues. And I'm like, wait, it's essentially all the same at the end of the day. It's just, it just depends on what you're working, like a front squat. I haven't done a front squat in 2 months, but last time I did it, it hits differently. Yeah, you're squatting, but I'm like, holy shit, I just explored it.
yeah, your core, your
Yep.
upper back, the
Yep.
quads. Yeah. It's,
So I woke up the next day and my core was on fire
Yeah.
just because of front squatting. I was like, damn, I'm like, I've never felt that before,
Yeah.
you know? So I think as I've gotten older too, it's a lot better to explore different avenues as well. Like, because when you're younger, dude, you're like, I'm sticking to this. It's working. It's like, yeah, you can, but also I recommend getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're just moving front to back, you're not moving in a sagittal plane or like anything else. Like you're not moving laterally. You're not doing any unilateral movements because all you're doing is bilateral movements. Like explore different avenues. Swing a kettlebell.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a power lifter, like you're going to get uncomfortable, but it's going to help you.
Well, explore. And like, I mean, I think literally everything I do or talk about in this industry, like I've taken from someone much smarter than me. But like Vernon Griffith, he always talks about explore the corners. He like has these crazy mobility things, this different kettlebell stuff, this landmine stuff that's like, just like the kids, that's play. You're playing in the gym. The gym is just a playground for adults.
Yeah.
yeah, it's work, but have fun with what you're doing. Another
Right.
guy, Corey, I'm going to butcher his last name. It's like Schlesinger or something. Like, yeah, that's hard to say.
Right.
But he's the Phoenix Suns strength coach. He does a
okay.
bunch of stuff with kettlebells, like flipping them, going between the legs, like
right. Figure eights
just,
and all that
just
stuff.
like a kettlebell flow.
Yeah.
Have fun with it, and do those things too, like on that deload where it's not as taxing on the body, but you're having fun, or you may even hit something a little bit different. Be like, okay, there's something to this. But yeah, it's with the volume and like the max recoverable volume that you hit and finding that sweet spot. I found for me, like, I love hypertrophy training. I love like that high volume. It's like a love-hate.
Right.
But what's most effective for me, I found first through doing one of Gil's programs and then through one of Jake Tura's programs, it's flipping the sets and reps. Rather than do 5 sets of 8, do 8 sets of 5. You're still hitting 40 reps, but the potential to go a little bit heavier is there. And the form breakdown isn't, because instead of grinding through reps 6, 7, and 8, I stop at 5 where it's clean. So even if you are doing the same rep or same weight, technically it's more sound.
Yeah, because your body, after a certain point, your body gets really taxed, and then it tries to compensate by you're leaning too far forward in a squat, or you're shifting towards your left or right side. Your knees are knocking against each other in order to get the weight up, So it's actually a smart move to make.
And it's been super fun because it's like, okay, I'm not getting as sore. I can throw in more, and you can throw in more volume with some of the accessories. Like one of the days that I was doing was like 8 sets of 5 on push press, supersetted with 8 sets of 10 pull-ups. So it's like, shoot, like I would never do 8 sets. Otherwise, like I'm not doing 8 sets of 8 or 8 sets of 10 on squats or push press, but now you got 80 reps of pull-ups to hit. So it's like, okay, you still get that pump feeling, but then you're getting some quality volume with these big movements. And I was getting really strong.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like, the quality is very important, and that's what a lot of people kind of overlook. Not really the experts, because of quality is key, right? But you have these guys that would try to lift, I don't know, 600 pounds in the gym, and like their deadlift is shit. Like it's garbage. It's like, dude, you're like, if you put another 5 pound on there, you are gonna snap your back up.
Yeah.
Like I've always focused on that, especially with athletes, very important. General population people, very important. Clients overall, it's very important to have the quality down first, and then work your way up as far as the tempo of the exercise. Because I've seen a lot of trainers too, where they coach their clients, and I'm like, okay, this person is really putting their client at risk for something bad to happen.
Yeah. Like I can't tell you enough about, men, I think, are naturally competitive. So when you're lifting together, or like in a gym, and you see someone lift a certain amount, you're like, I want to do that.
Yeah, like fuck that, I can do that.
Every time, I can't tell you, like every time we've had a guy deadlift 315, it's like, oh, he hit 3 plates. Like, it's one of those landmarks.
Yeah.
Like 6 other guys, I can deadlift 315. It's like, no, please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Like, you maybe can, but how are you performing the movement?
Yeah.
Like, where is your form?
Yeah.
Is your back completely straight? Like, how is everything coming up and coming back down?
Exactly.
So
that's when too, like throwing in an eccentric, for example, with like an athlete is going to be huge, because a lot of athletes, specifically with the deadlift, or sprinters more specific, they don't have an eccentric on the deadlift. It'll be all concentric and then drop
it.
But if you are far out enough from competition, we say, hey, we're doing 5 seconds eccentric on deadlift. That's a lot of practice and time under tension to teach that and ingrain that technique, versus, hey, rip this off the floor and just drop it.
Right.
Now it's like, okay, no, you're going to focus on lowering it. That 315 went to maybe 225, maybe, right? So then it's that practice, and you're keeping your guys safe. You're being responsible as a coach, because so many guys are irresponsible.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, cool, you squat 500. That doesn't make you a good trainer. It doesn't make you a good coach.
Right.
Like, how much do you care about these people really? Like, you're having them do burpees and stand on a Bosu ball. Like, get out of here, man.
Dude, I've seen some coaches put their client on a Bosu ball while they're overhead pressing. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Dude, that's one thing with like the boot camps, and like,
It is so funny.
Yeah. Of the guys that I do boot camps with, like I'm probably like physically one of the weaker trainers. Like they can outlift me. But I have never had my guys stand on a BOSU ball, never had my guys doing burpees. And like people will complain to me about that stuff of like, oh man, like my wrists hurt. Or like first day back from quarantine, one of the trainers had people doing burpees.
Oh no.
I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like they had a 3-month break and you're having them do like a burpee AMRAP. Like, are you
Jesus
stupid?
Christ.
Like what is going on?
How
But-
do you structure your group classes?
So I'll usually do either, so I try to map it based on who is coaching before and after me.
Uh-huh.
And because we do have some people that will attend like the 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. class, but
Oh, got it.
typically I'll switch between either an upper and lower split or a front and back split. So we'll do a lot of pressing, we'll do a lot of quads, a lot of core, and then another class we'll do glutes, hamstrings, and back, and like a lot of rear delts.
So you guys switch it from class to class.
Yeah, so it really depends on that person before me, but typically like when we were in a groove, the first guy would do very much like a hit, like very much like you would a traditional boot camp of like
Tabata.
you're gonna go through like 6 different exercises for like 10 minutes and just like go.
jamming out.
Yeah. And so guys wouldn't be sore, but they're getting some conditioning in. So then I would focus more on like that movement quality. Like we're gonna do a single leg RDL with a kettlebell with a row at the bottom. So you're holding that, so you're getting some core strength, some anti-rotational in, some stability on that foot, and then you're hitting the whole backside. And then we'll start with like a bigger movement and work our way down to those smaller things. Sometimes people would ask like, hey, can we do, because it was probably 99% women. Like I've had girls be like, can we do like a booty workout? And it's like, fine, whatever.
But it's like so I'll do the same I'll kind of do the same thing, but what they don't understand is you don't have to do glute bridges every single day, like squats, RDLs, single leg RDLs, lateral lunges, reverse lunges, like all that stuff.
I'm like,
works.
we're already working your butt.
Yeah, can we work my glutes? Like, well, we kind of are already so it's funny. I'll kind of do the same thing. It just depends week by week.
Yeah.
But I always look at group training as I try to give group training and personal training at once, if that makes sense. So I'll always start with a base, right? Like a push, pull, lunge, carry, squat. And then I'll try to fit every of those 5 exercises in. And then I will do like, okay, so what else is there? Do they have any type of core exercise? Okay, no, let me write that in. And then I'll just kind of add the fluff stuff, like jump ropes, or we're going to do a wall sprint or stuff like that too. But I like even in boot camps, like I try to be smart about it too.
Yeah,
you have to be smart. It's because I've seen other people who are just like, we're going to do 20 jumping jacks, 10 burpees, and we're going to do sprints till you die. And I'm like, that's kind of not how you're supposed to do it. So I think with group training, you have to, because you have a wide variety of clients too that are coming in. So the facility I train at, we have people from, I think like 18 years old and then to 65, So when I try to fit that in, it's like, how are they going to move? How are they going to respond? Am I going to go by reps today, or am I going to go by time?
Yeah.
If I'm going to go by time, I'm doing a unilateral exercise. Am I going to go 30 seconds each side, or am I going to flip it? Like, there's so much stuff I think about, and I think that's what makes, I'm not saying I'm a good coach. I think I'm okay, but like, it just shows the quality of work the coaches put in with their clients, with group training.
Well, it's being intentional.
With their programs. It's showing that they care, and I think that's something too that people miss is the caring aspect of personal training and coaching as well.
I think too with like boot camps, so much of it's like you have to adjust on the fly. Because like, and with personal training too, because if you write like, okay, we're going to do lat pull downs and low rows and all those stations are taken, what are you going to do?
Yep.
So like if I'm planning, Bulgarian split squats and step ups and all the step boxes are taken, okay, audible.
Yep.
But outside of jumping, my boot camps look very similar to how I train all my athletes. Because most people want to look like athletes, but they don't train like athletes. And they forget that's why athletes look like that, because they train like that. Usain Bolt, he lifts heavy on his lower body and does sprints. Sprinting is the most maximal effort thing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, that has the highest power output of anything you can really do.
Yeah.
That's why he looks like that. That's why
Yeah.
he's incredibly lean and muscular. You know, bobsledders. Bobsledders are some of the most freak athletes in the world. Like, if you Google some of those guys, like,
Really?
they're freaking jacked. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I
There's
don't
this one
follow. I
guy-
don't follow that sport, so I'm not exactly like.
I don't either until like I saw some guys that like they'd be like, oh, and here's gold medalist bobsledder, and I'm like, what? Like, I think this guy his name's Blaine McConnell. You'll have to check him out on Instagram.
Okay.
He's from Great Britain. Dude snatches over 300. He's like doing all these crazy jumps, all these crazy squats,
shit.
sprints. Like, he looks like he could be like a stacked linebacker in the NFL.
What?
Yeah. Because he's
Really?
pushing a bobsled and like getting those guys going. He's like that base guy, right? So like these guys
Oh.
are freaky athletes where they have to
It's
be able to
crazy
move
how
fast.
you don't think about that. Though,
Exactly.
You know, like.
Yeah. So outside of the jumping, I'm gonna have my guys do all the same things.
Right.
You know, they're gonna move well. We're gonna work mobility. We're gonna work laterally. We're gonna be, you know, trying to do as much sprinting as possible within reason.
Right.
We have older people, so you know they haven't been trained up to that. So we'll gauge it, but we'll do sled pushes, sled pulls, rows, rear delts. We're gonna work them very similar to our athletes, and that's why I think my classes are fairly popular, because it's like people feel good when they're moving good. And it's like, okay, I feel confident with how I move and how much weight I can use. And that, I think that carries over to the rest of their life.
Yeah, and they come out feeling well. You know, they don't come out like, oh, my shoulders hurt, or my wrists hurt, my elbows or my joints, or something's bugging them
Yeah.
too. You know,
And like, I'll mess up for sure and be like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
shoot, I forgot you had a bad back. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Like, but I always tell them, and like, I try to have individual conversations with each person to be on that intimate level. Kind of like how you said, making a class, a personal training, to where it's like, oh, how are the kids? How's this? How's this injury? And then go, okay, we're going to do push press. And then walk over to someone and be like, okay, for you, we're going to do a half kneeling kettlebell press. Like, that way it's
Bottoms
not
up
as,
press,
you know,
yeah.
that's way it's not as
taxing on the
taxing
shoulders.
on the shoulders, on the wrists,
Yep.
on whatever that injury might be. So
Yeah.
just being intentional with those people.
Yeah, that's what I do too. It's funny you say that. Like with people who have bad shoulders, most likely that's the case, right? One of the biggest, not injuries, but people getting hurt. And I'll do the same thing. I'm like, hey, for you, we'll switch it up. It's like the audible that you said.
Yeah.
You got to always think of something on the fly. I've had that happen too, where all lat pull downs are taking. Oh, well, we're still working your lats. We're gonna do a half kneeling cable lat pull down, a single arm. We're gonna start to do that. It's the same thing. You're working the same exact muscles, you know, and then switch from there too. It's like you kind of have to have that mindset to where, yes, I am going to plan something out for you, but also I am going to plan on something not going right.
Yeah.
You have to have that plan B.
Yeah. Usually the workouts that I've written that I'm most excited about, I walk in and they're like, we did legs yesterday. I'm like, okay, we're going to table this for next time. We're going to switch it up, and I'm going to have to write a workout on the fly. But having that, you know, ability is, I think, like you said, even with like the questions, as silly as they are, it's like keeping your mind sharp, keeping you ready. Because if you freeze, what are you going to do?
Right.
Because everyday life, you're going to have to call audibles. Stuff happens. How do you react to that sort of thing? If you can't handle little things or seemingly insignificant things, how do you handle the big things?
Yeah. That's actually a good factor too. I'd never thought of it like that. That's crazy that you say that.
Yeah.
That kind of happens to me too. It's like, yeah, if something small happens, I've seen trainers flip out. Well, no, we have to use this. Like, you can use something else. You're just being very narrow-minded and arrogant.
Get out of your comfort
point.
zone.
Yeah,
just like you're trying to get your client out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. And how you take that, just like you said, is how you go through life itself. If something happens, if your car gets towed, if you have a flat tire, how are you going to react to that? Are you going to get pissed off, or are you just going to be like, okay, this happened. How can I take care of that? That was something that came out of left field and I had this going on. Let me take care of this first and then go back to that.
Yeah.
Let me go back on the road, you know? So it's all about how you incorporate that into your life too.
Yeah. You got to just plan for the unforeseen and be ready for it. I mean, the amount of times I've watched film and called a play going, okay, they're going to line up like this, and then they line up differently. And I'm like, oh, crap. What do we do?
Yeah.
You know, just call an
famous
audible.
Mike Tyson quote, you only have a plan until you get hit in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Hey, I really thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
That was
And
fun, man.
yeah, so we're gonna have cameras here next time. We're gonna have you come on when we start filming.
Sweet.
All right.
That'd be awesome, man.
All right. So let everybody know how they can reach you on Instagram, Facebook, whatever else you have. I don't know if you have a TikTok.
No TikTok. I'm really only active on Instagram. I think my username is alex.hellman13. I think.
Okay, we're gonna have to double check on that. All right. But yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, man.
Really
Yeah, that's
great.
your Instagram.
Thanks, Roscoe. But
welcome.
yeah, thank you everybody and have a great rest of your day. Later.